Think your Ford Ranger Raptor is tough? Well, think again. That's right, I said think, because this here is about to tackle one of the most challenging off-road courses in one of the most remote areas in Australia. This is the toughest and fastest Ford Ranger built, and yep, it's heading off to the Finke Desert Race. But before it does, we get to have a bit of a squiz. So in this video, we're going to find out exactly what they've done to this to make it race ready. Before we get into it, here are some cool facts that you need to know about this race-ready Ford Ranger Raptor. Firstly, it is pretty much factory standard, but it does have some modifications to components and some necessary safety added so that it can tackle the desert. Also, it raced and won the Baja 1000 race. Now, yes, it was the only one in its category, but credit to them, because if you didn't know this already, the Baja 1000 is the single most dangerous race in North America. After they won, they hit the road and drove home in it, which you won't be able to do as yet in Australia. And also the father-son duo that were among the drivers at the Baja 1000 will be piloting this and trying their luck at Finke. This will be the first Finke entry by Ford Performance, with Walkinshaw Performance also assisting in logistics, event management and vehicle servicing. This race-ready Ranger was built by Kelly Racing and tested in Australia before being sent over to the US for final development and then testing for Baja. Their firm philosophy was to build a truck that was familiar to the base vehicle. With that being said, key elements remain, such as the suspension and braking systems, along with the electrical interface and architecture, just to name a few. This meant that they would be using systems that they've already developed and tested, and then including elements that add value for the vehicle off-road. Just like when you're racing at different racetracks, Finke has different terrain to Baja, so yes, some changes have been made to the setup. Finke will mark the third event for the Ranger Raptor following its Baja 1000 effort and its appearance at the King of the Hammers. There are lots of standard elements to this Ranger Raptor. For starters, the engine, 3-litre twin-turbo V6, that's standard, as is the power. So 295 kilowatts and 583 newton meters. Front and rear differentials also standard, as is the front and rear suspension with Fox shocks. So what have they done to make this so much tougher and desert ready? Well, on the front you can see there's the custom snorkel added, and then the front nudge bar with the intensity light bar in there as well. But otherwise, take those away, looking at it, this really is just like your Ford Ranger Raptor that you're driving on the road today. On the side, there's 35-inch KO2 tyres, up 2 inches on the base to manage rocks and obstacles. The wheels are Method's bead grip forged aluminium race wheels, around 5 kilos lighter per wheel per corner. The tyres with the wheels combined are actually lighter than the 33s with the standard wheel. You can tell instantly that the truck looks higher. This has been achieved visually as there aren't any side steps. The tyres add the additional 2 inches. And finally, to manage the weight difference, the balance of the ute was adjusted. This was achieved with custom Fox dampers that are threaded, which allowed them to set the spring height. They've managed to keep the dampers as close to standard as possible. This means that the way the vehicle rides and drives on the road should be very similar to that of the base spec. Worth noting, these dampers are a new addition for Finke. In the rear is where you'll see the biggest difference. A lot of additions, of course, these mammoth spare tyres here. This has a tailgate, wasn't needed at Baja, but it is required in Australia. Also has a cooling system, something which is needed for Finke, but wasn't needed at Baja. There is a 160-litre tank integrated into the tub here. So essentially, they'll be able to get from Alice Springs all the way to Finke without needing to top up. Something else to mention is that the exhaust system is standard. However, they have removed the intermediate muffler and also the active valve system. So that means there's added performance, and it also means no quiet mode, but only a scintillating loud exhaust note. The area that would normally house rear seats now holds spare parts, tools, an alternator, starter motor, extra wheel nuts, fire suppressor system, radio control system, and an air breather system, which allows the crew to pump fresh air into their helmets. What's more, the door handles are standard, but realigned to fit into the roll cage. Now, there was no way that I was going to leave here today without actually getting inside this. So let's see how difficult it is to actually get in. Here goes. I've been given some tips and tricks. There we go. Left in, swing around. Oh, that actually wasn't that bad, except for the headbang. but there is no glamorous way to do that. Whew, that's tight. Snug as a bug in a rug. There is a lot to take in here, but they did want to make all of the elements in here really easy to use and as close as possible to what you see in the road version. So for starters, switching it on, I'm told is quite easy. So switch here, button here, and then boom, we're on. That was actually really easy. So lots of buttons going on here, but I'll just point out, of course, there's the GPS system, your navigation, your radio, but then a lot of the other elements in here you'll see from the typical Ford Ranger Raptor, including this infotainment screen. If you do want to see a full run through of the interior and a full review of the Ford Ranger Raptor, head on over to Drive.com.au. Inside the car, it's worth noting that the cluster, center screen, transmission control, start button all work like a normal car, and even the drive modes can be used as is. All up, this truck weighs in around a couple of 100 kilos heavier, given that it's carrying a lot of extra weight with the steel cage, tank, jack, and underbody shielding front and back. Something else I can see, they have kept the cameras around the car, which is handy when you're driving through the desert. They have removed the front and rear sensors, also the airbags, and instead of adaptive cruise control, they've just got the standard cruise control so that they can adhere to any speed restrictions when they're going through the course. Now I just need to try and get out. So the race-ready Ford Ranger Raptor. Of course, we asked the question as to whether or not we can expect a customer version to arrive in Australia at any point, and we got an absolutely saying that there is an opportunity for it. Not sure when, but you never know, you could have this in your garage in a few years' time. Would you buy one? And of course, let us know what you think in the comments below. Is it tough enough? Also, the more likes that they get, the more likely I'll be to be able to jump in this and go for a ride. In the passenger seat, of course. Make sure you subscribe so you can watch more videos like this one. And of course, for more information on the Ford Ranger Raptor, head on over to Drive.com.au. Thanks for watching.